large actor, writer, studio regime. I mean, people don't believe how big our actor people are here in Chicago. But I'm very excited to introduce you guys to one of the actresses from the play, 227. Now it says it a little bit differently, but I found out that it's loosely based, and it was the basis for, you remember that show back on NBC called 227? That's right. And she plays Carrie Cross, and I loved her character on the stage play, and they're performing this stage play right now at ETA Creative Arts, and that's here on the south side of Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, she is a veteran actress. Give it up for Felisha McNeal. Here she is. Hey, Felisha.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I know, and I was reading your bio, and you've been acting for over 3 decades?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Doesn't seem that long. And then sometimes it does.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I'd love to find out exactly from you, what were the 3 things that helped you succeed in acting, especially here in Chicago?
Well, success is relative, but I get your point. I think when you say three things,
Yeah, it
well,
doesn't have to be
one,
3. Okay.
commitment and dedication and endurance, and just a deep faith in yourself or belief in yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, and with this project, 227, how did you find out about it, and how was it auditioning for the role that you play, Carrie Cross?
Well, I really didn't audition for this role because I have known Christine for probably now 27 years, maybe 28. The reason why I know that number is because when I first met her, I was pregnant with my daughter, and
Oh.
she's now 27. And I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter well, when I auditioned for Christine for a particular project that she was doing, I didn't know that I was pregnant. And then by the time the project was up on its feet, I was 7 months pregnant. And I was telling Christine that I didn't think I would be able to do it because I was 7 months pregnant. And of course, the character was not pregnant, that I would be playing. And she assured me that, oh yeah, you can do it, and I could do it, and they'll just disguise my stomach with
Mhm.
a costume, like costuming me up. And I just did not see that vision. And but I trusted her enough
Mhm.
that I went ahead and did it. And when I looked at she videotaped it or had it videotaped. And when I
Mhm.
looked at the videotape, you could not tell that I was 7 months pregnant. And I wasn't one of these tiny women. I was much smaller than I am now, but
Mhm.
I wasn't, uh, I did not carry a tiny pregnancy. I
Okay.
mean, my stomach was out there, and I just trusted her that she knew what she was doing. And literally, you could not tell when I looked at the tape that I was pregnant. It was amazing to me.
Wow, oh my gosh, and I'm trying to remember, when exactly was the play 227 first performed here in Chicago?
I think it was in '77, if I can remember correctly. And
Mhm.
it won some awards, and
Mhm.
the network or someone, yeah, I think the network bought it, bought the rights to I don't think they bought the rights to the play, but they bought the rights to make it into a sitcom. And then
Yeah.
Christine kept the rights to the play. And then the
Wow.
next time I think it was done, I believe, I'm not sure, it's when it was done at ETA 7 years ago. And
Okay.
I had the opportunity. to play Carrie at that point.
Mhm.
And she was so pleased with my performance that she told me, and you know, sometimes you know people exaggerate. But
Mm.
she told me at that time that she could never do this play without me ever again in the role of Carrie. And I just, you know, I was like, Miss Christie, I know, you know, thank you very much for the compliment. But when she did it this time, she asked me to, you know, resurrect the role again because she really liked the chemistry between Cherie and I. And
Yeah,
she said she would not be able to do it, or she won't do it without Cherie and myself playing those two leading ladies. So I
yeah,
was thrilled. And I've gotten some really positive feedback from other people to say that, you know, Cherie and I play well against each other. So, like Miss Christine knows her business.
and we're talking about the writer of the play, of
Right,
227. I wanna make sure that I get that right,
right.
Christine, and
Christine.
right, exactly, and I met her because she was there at the performance that I saw a couple of weeks back, and everyone was just excitingly talking about her, and then when I found out that she was the same age what would have been my mom would have turned 86, this month, I was thinking, "Oh my." So that's phenomenal to me.
Her story is incredible. If you ever have
Mhm.
a chance, please interview her because her
Yeah,
story is really incredible.
yeah, and I definitely wanted to make sure that I get a chance to talk with her because I know this play will probably come back, and because you guys are wrapping up this weekend, is that correct?
Right. Sunday
Yeah.
we have tonight, and we have tonight, Saturday, and then Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon, and
Oh,
last performance.
yeah, and, what in acting, I wanted to find out, did you have a favorite role that you've portrayed in your time of acting?
Oh wow, I have a lot of favorites. I I I can't really do. In all honesty, this is one of my favorites. Um,
Mhm.
I like it. It's interesting because there was a time when I was always cast in dramatic roles,
Okay.
and I love drama. You
Mhm.
know, I do love drama. But there was a time where I did not do comedy because I wasn't cast in anything that was comedic. And
Ah.
when I think it was a couple of years ago, Sharif produced some of Miss Christine Houston's skits that she's got lots of them, and she pulled together some of her skits, and we did them at I think at Victory Gardens, and I had such a wonderful. I love comedy. I love slapstick. I love just things that make you just double over with laughter. And
Mhm.
I really enjoy, as my grandmother would say, clowning, you know. And I had such a wonderful time doing those because Miss Christine is a good comedy writer.
Yeah.
And the,
Yeah.
kind of like the more exaggerated it is, the funnier it is. And she writes it that way. And that may not be some people's favorite genre, but I enjoy that kind of comedy.
Yeah, Carrie, your character in this play is kind of reminding me of, the character adjacent from 227 in the TV show, and I can't think of her name right now, but she was on Sesame Street. The one thing that about the gossip, kind of that topic of gossiping, and there's a big reveal that happens with your character toward the end, but what would you say is some of your favorite, movements or just kind of the interactions with other actors when portraying Carrie on stage? Like, you're acting opposite of the Mary character often, but just how was your experience?
With our relationship
Mhm,
as
yeah.
two characters. I really enjoyed playing off of. Cherie is a very good actress,
Mhm.
and it's nice to have that type of rapport and energy between the two of us. It's like we can play well off each other, and she's very quick. She picks up things very quickly, and she can play off of me, and I hopefully I can play off of her and discover things about the character through us playing off of each other.
Yeah, and Cherie was very funny. And one thing that I liked about a lot of the actors that's in this play afterwards, we as the audience was able to interact with you. And I remember talking with you afterwards, and you were letting us know about eating
Oh,
and
wow.
pacing your eating. And I was thinking, oh wow, why don't you share about that?
Well, I don't eat before the show. I cannot. Yesterday, I made the mistake of having lunch, which was just a bowl of soup
Oof,
and so a little tiny piece of cornbread. And it was probably about mm, maybe 4 hours before the show because we go up at 7. So I
okay,
ate this about maybe 1 o'clock,
right.
and I should have been okay. It was soup. I mean, it was even though it was a pretty hearty soup, but
Hmm.
I by having to eat during the show. At the end of the show, I was really almost miserable. I
Oh
was
no.
I was so full. All I wanted to do was just go home and drink some water and go to bed. Unfortunately, you shouldn't do that after eating, but that's just how it is because I eat so much during the show.
Right.
Yeah, and that's and just I enjoy doing that. I mean, I enjoy food as myself, but
Right.
finding those moments where it works comedically is fun. It's fun to discover those moments when it works. Eating works in the timing of the lines and the dialogue.
Right. Yeah, and I know you are now you mentioned your daughter, and I believe you in your bio, you said you also have your grandson, and acting in schools, like, we're coming into the school year, and unfortunately, some school programs have taken away arts or taken away performing arts. Could you speak to that about the importance of the arts?
In the last decade, that the
Mhm.
arts have been really defunded everywhere. I mean,
Mhm.
everyone is scrambling for funds.
Yeah.
The the school, not only in the schools, but professional theaters are being, you know, they're having to compete for funds.
Yeah.
And I know for myself, when I discovered the arts or just theater and acting, it made such a huge difference in my life. It opened up my mind, it opened up my curiosity for um, doing research and history and all of that kind of stuff. And so by taking that out of the schools, it's really not, it isn't, it's lessening what the citizens of this country and the city and what they can contribute in society. Because
Mhm.
I know what it did for me in opening up my my personality and my mind and my curiosity and
Yeah.
my really just kind of like my zest for life. So it it's not doing the city and the states and the country, it's not doing us a favor by taking that away from children or people, period.
Mhm.
Theaters have gone under in the city of Chicago. And so people don't have that link um, in the community anymore, that they can go
Mhm.
and see a show and enjoy it, live theater, and having that interaction between the audience and the actors. They don't have that anymore. They don't have the stories. They don't, because there are playwrights out here that are writing some beautiful stories.
Yeah.
And those stories, when they're on paper, but they're not getting to an audience. And
Right.
people need to hear about themselves. They need to see themselves on stage. They need to hear some of these stories that maybe they haven't heard before. So,
Yes. Yeah, and I think when people have that desire, and if they learn about acting or performing arts in school or at the local YMCA or wherever that those art programs are, if someone says, "You know what? I wanna do this as a career," what's some of the best advice you could give someone starting out in acting?
well, I would tell them to study,
Mhm,
take some acting classes,
mhm,
um, and just it's always it's a lifelong study. It really is. It continues on. And I remember my acting teacher told me that one time, and she said, as you know, the life of an actor is forever, as long as
right.
you're breathing. A dancer has a lifespan because
Mhm.
eventually their legs go.
Oh, yeah.
A singer may have a lifespan because their voice may it gets older, and they
Right.
might change something in their craft. But an
Mhm.
actor can continue on, and the most beautiful thing about it is that we continue to learn this craft forever.
Right. I
Something
know.
forever. So yeah,
And
definitely take acting classes and just observe life. Because as an actor, my own personal experiences help me in developing certain characters. Because if I haven't had that experience as a person, then
mhm.
how can I portray that on stage or something similar to that on stage?
Right, right. And I have a question from the audience. What was the first play you saw that made you wanna become an actress?
Oh, that made me want to become an actress. I don't know if I
Mhm.
can honestly say that. I remember the first play that I saw was as the wine sellers by. I was
Okay.
in school, and we'll say that was like in the 70s. And believe it or not, I don't know if you remember Miss Abena Joan Brown, that was the founder of ETA. But I found out
Mhm.
years later that she was in that production down at Airy Crown Theater. It was called As the Wine Sellers By. And I remember that was the first play that I ever saw. And I was in high school. My parents weren't into the arts like that. So I never went to a play. And I think it was a school trip or something. And I went and I was just totally, like blown away by
Yeah.
because I saw us on the stage.
Yes.
And it left a lifelong memory for me. Now, I don't know, I didn't see myself as that I could do that. When I
Mhm.
saw the play, I didn't think that I could do that. But the first time that I considered being an actress is when I actually was in a play, and that's when I was in college. And
Okay.
I loved it so much that I was like, I've got to do this. I didn't know if I could do it for a living or anything like that. I just wanted to do it and just do it. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't know if it could be a career or I could make money. I just wanted to do it. So I changed my major from education, which I was almost finished in that particular
Oh.
field. I was doing my student practicum, and
Mm.
I wasn't really ever really that happy with my decision to become a teacher. It was really kind of like pleasing my parents or pleasing my mother because she wanted, we come from, educators.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, this is a respectable career.
Mm-hmm.
And but it wasn't something that I felt not even nearly passionate about. It was just,
Right.
I was obligated to do it. And when I discovered theater, I knew I had to. And I found out that I could actually major in that and get my college degree. I against the wishes of my mother, I decided to change my major. She was very upset at the time.
Yeah.
She vowed not to support me at all, but
Mm.
I still did it. And then eventually I won her support.
Yeah, that's that's a similar trajectory for when I made the decision to move to New York, and my mom was like, "You don't wanna go there. The people are mean and they're dirty."
Yeah, yeah,
You just kinda have to, go ahead and push through. Some of the
right.
actresses that I think about, Viola Davis, who I definitely has been on a Broadway stage, said that it inspired her to see Cicely Tyson early on, and that's who inspired her when she was acting. And another question from the audience, who are some of the actresses that have inspired you and drew you into the arts?
Definitely when I decided to change my major and do this as a career, or it was definitely at that time in the 70s, definitely Cicely Tyson. She was
Yeah,
she was it for me. And
yeah.
people would often tell me that I favored her, and I didn't think I did, but it was a compliment to me. But because she was the actress of that time and for decades to come. So yeah, she was probably the the one that I can most remember. After that, I don't know what other actors had that kind of imprint on my life in the arts. I'd have to really think about that to be able to honestly answer it. But definitely Cicely Tyson.
Yeah, because it's amazing how many actresses have that one person that they saw themselves in that person and felt like they were represented well. And so it's people say it and it sounds cliche, representation does matter. It's as
Yes,
simple as
it
that.
does. Yes, it does.
If people wanted to catch you in 227, the stage play that is based on the 227 series, where would they go and get that information?
They will call ETA Creative Arts Foundation.
Mhm.
They can go to their website, which is www.eta Creative Arts. I believe the foundation is in there too. I'm not sure, but either they can try etacreativearts.org or creativeartsfoundation.org and go to their website and they can purchase tickets from the website, or they can come to the theater at 7558 South Chicago and they can purchase tickets at the box office. I'm not sure the cost of the tickets because that's not my lane. So um, they they can get the tickets either off the website or from the box office.
Wonderful. Thank you, Felisha McNeal. Thank you so very much for joining me on this special edition of Interludes Extra. I'm so grateful that you're able to take time out. You guys can see it. She's literally in her car and getting ready to do her performance in a few hours. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate you reaching out to me. And yes, ETA is the best. It is the it, and I'm so glad that it is surviving and hopefully will one day get back to thriving. We need the
Exactly.
support of the community, and that's why I do this. I don't seek a lot of fame and fortune. Not to say that I would reject fame or fortune, but I want to reach to people in our community that they can
Mhm.
enjoy live theater. But thank you so much for reaching out to me and want to interview me.
Yeah.
Um, you just
Thank
don't know
you.
what that means to me.
Oh. Felicia, you're gonna get me emotional now.
Good.
Oh, I am Val the Voice Johnson with Interludes Extra. We're signing off. Peace.